I guess before we start, I wanted to share my intention for this conversation. I kind of shared it in your booking form, but I guess I want to voice it here too because it's been a while since I did that form. Um, I generally am just very interested in your work at large. I think I'm interested in your work and I'm interested in the big soul and heart that you are, which is a big part of my show, really getting to connect to big-hearted people in this world. So, one, that's my first intention, just to find out more about who you are as the person behind all of your flat earth work. And then the other intention is I kind of want to go to the deeper spiritual side of all the flat earth teachings that you offer. So um we'll get into it, but I kind of want to explore a little bit into like God and the different planes and sort of where you see your relationship to a higher power fitting into your flat earth understandings and teachings. Does
Okay.
that
Yeah,
how
we
does
can
that
do
feel for
that.
how does that feel for you?
That feels good. Feels like I'll have a lot easier time not having to pull up so many images and videos as we
Yeah.
talk. This is good. I like that early in the morning here. It's you're in the UK, I think, right?
So I'm actually in India,
Oh, in
but
India.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think we'll start the episode with some of the practical stuff. So, um, I'll start sort of like surface level, and then we'll go deep towards about the middle of the hour.
Sounds good.
Um, do you have any questions for me, Dave, before we get into it?
I do not.
You're ready. You're ready to
How,
go. I
how
feel it.
long have you known the Earth is flat?
Ooh, good question. Um, I think when I emailed you.
I mean, oh, so you're brand new to this.
I'm so I'll get into this when we start recording, but I've sort of been aware of this teaching for a while, for I would say the last 10 years, but I haven't really actively sort of opened my heart to it. But very recently, one of my mentors actually uh, sort of started talking a lot about it, and she referenced you, and I was like, oh. This is interesting. I feel like now's the time to sort of really step my foot in. So I've sort of been aware of the teachings for the last 10 years, I would say, but last couple of months I've really gotten serious about it.
So a couple months ago, somebody comes up to you, gun to your head, Earth flat or a globe. You would have said a globe.
Probably, yes.
All right.
I would have. Yeah.
Now I'm excited.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm open. Um all right, so let's get started, Dave. I'll hit record. I'll make sure I remember. There we go. Good morning, evening, afternoon, magical beings. Welcome back to another episode of the Cosmic Love Antenna. And today's episode is a very special one. I was just speaking to the guest who I'll introduce here in 2 seconds. I was just speaking to him before we started recording around this topic that we're going to get into today. And as I tend to do with really intriguing, expansive topics like this one today, as I was talking to Dave here, I felt some tingles coming through me and some goosebumps, and that's always a really good sign of one, a powerful heart that I get to have a chat with, and two, a topic that I think is going to test you today. And that topic is all things flat Earth. And I could think of no better person to bring on the show today than Flat Earth David Weiss. This powerful soul has come into my life over the last couple of months, and he has a lot of teachings and beautiful understandings to share with you today. And before we get into it all, I would encourage all of you listening to the show to really open your heart as you do with all of my episodes, but particularly today, because the mind is going to come in and it's going to be very active, I think, with today's conversation. And I encourage it to be active but I would also invite you to bring your heart to this conversation and come back to your power and ask the question, is this true? And see what happens. So with all of that, Dave, welcome to the Cosmic Love Antenna.
All right, I have a bunch of things to say. First, it's Weiss like ice, so that's
Perfect.
no problem. And
Yeah.
and when you first hear about this, we all have the same story. The first people, when you first hear about it, you disregard it, you make fun of it, you reject it violently,
Mm,
and you refuse to look. And you're like, of course, the Earth is a globe. And then hopefully something like this show, something like whatever, gets you to actually look at the real information, not what Google serves you, because Google's going to serve you a bunch of
mm,
nonsense. And
mm,
and then use your own God-given discernment to figure it out. And I don't need people to say they're flat earthers. I need people to say, yeah, the globe is ridiculous. That's easy. And once you say that, you're on the right path. And
mm,
the we're also programmed after we have all of our heliocentric proofs destroyed, like, oh, boats over the horizon, sunset, seasons,
mm,
and all of these things. When you actually look at them, they actually prove the Earth is a level, stationary, topographical, non-rotating
mm,
plane. And
mm,
and and then you throw your hands up in the air, a smart person, because we've been programmed to say, what difference does it make? I have to go to work on Monday. Okay. Well, that's a pre-program response. What difference does it make?
yeah,
This is
yeah,
the most important topic with all of the stuff going on in the world, from the trafficking of humans to food
mm.
and to fuel and shortages and wars. All of that is possible because you're lost in space, spinning out of control in a diluted created world. Diluted created world. We'll
Da-
get more into that.
yeah, Dave, I think let's start with that actually. So I was sharing with you before we started recording that, my intention for today's show is, yes, I want to hit on sort of the practical side of flat Earth, and for people new to it, I'd love to hear some of your teachings. You just sort of hinted at us with some of the proofs that I want to hear about here in a second. But my main intention is to get to the deeper sort of spiritual teachings of this. And you just hit on one very simply there, with this idea that, one, that this is the most important topic that you could be discussing, and two, because when we take this idea out of the equation that we're on a ball floating through space, something very significant occurs. So I'm wondering if you can, what is the difference here? What is the difference here between, okay, I'm on an Earth, I am floating through space, I'm very sort of small and insignificant, versus being on a flat Earth. What is the power change here? What shifts for people?
The whole heliocentric model is an inversion of the truth, and it literally dilutes God. It dilutes the creator. And there's people that have a connection with the creator and believe they live on a ball, but they're missing out, right? And a lot of people say, "Oh, you flat earthers, you want to think you're smarter than everybody else." Well, we are smarter than a lot of people. It's because we're willing to look at reality, but you want to make yourself
Mm,
feel special. Well,
mm,
everybody wants to feel special, but that's not the reason that we do it. We are special. This place was created for
mm,
us. We are at the center of creation. Oh,
mm,
that's very egotistical. What about the rest of the universe? It would be, Carl Sagan and all the other shucksters out there, Neil deGrasse Tyson. They say, to believe that we're in a unique position, a special position, is just ego. No,
mm,
it's creation. We are at the
mm,
center of creation, and
mm,
there is no gigantic, ever expanding universe. They tell us the universe. Check this out. The heliocentric universe is expanding. I forget the number, but it doesn't matter. 1 billion miles a second or 1 billion miles
mm,
a minute, right? You can't even conceive what 1 billion miles is. And it's
mm,
expanding forever at that speed. And then they show us pictures of, like, literally, it's just complete and total dots in the sky. Like, every one of those dots is a galaxy, and it has 100 to 1 trillion stars in it, and each one of those stars has planets. They are diluting you. They are diluting. If you want to dilute something, pour it into a bigger container, and
mm.
that's empty space. We are at the
So,
center of creation.
so Dave, I want to play devil's advocate here because,
You know,
to be totally honest, a lot of what you're saying is resonating, because a big part of my show is really reminding people that they're the most powerful consciousness, powerful thing in their reality, right? And God is not an external thing. God is an internal space within the heart, right? But I want to play devil's advocate here because a lot of people in my community, for example, would say, when we look at the expanding universe, as you said, and all these beautiful galaxies and all these things happening, there would be a sort of debate point that would be thrown into this conversation around, but that is God showing its magic, right? Showing its infinite creation power, that we're born from stardust, right? We're born from all of the universe and all the things out there. So I'm wondering, what would you pose to someone that comes into the conversation with that?
Yeah, so God, I'm just thinking how this conversation is going to go. Do we have 5 hours? Because it's going to need
Yeah.
5 hours. Um, they always tell us the truth. They always tell us the truth. They have like this cosmic rule of not lying or something, not breaking our free will, but they always hint our truth. They tell us we're made from stardust. Well, another conversation maybe later, a little later. I think the stars that we see are literally our souls in the firmament. And
Mm,
those are our non-physical souls. That's where we all are in the heavens above. And they're very
mm,
close. They're not far at all, way
mm.
closer than they even tell us
Yeah.
the moon is. Okay. And I think that that's where our souls reside. We're having this physical experience here in this meat suit in this physical 3D
Mm,
realm. I think
mm.
the moon, this is me thinking, I'm not speaking for other flat earthers. This is David
Yeah.
White speaking. Um, the moon is responsible for delivering and removing souls. Don't ask me how, but that's what my
Mm,
research has led me to understand or understand.
mm.
Um, but
In a stand. Ooh, I like that.
yeah. So I want to just show you a couple pictures here. Here is
Yes,
this is
please.
either a picture from the new James Webb, $18 billion telescope, or I made it. Now it's a series of pictures. I've personally forgotten which ones I've made. Okay, there's one. There's another. There's another.
For people just listening to the podcast, David's showing us images of different galaxies and stars out there. Yeah.
Yeah, these are just lights. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which ones are mine and which ones are theirs because you can't tell the difference. And I made
Yeah.
them with a free program, um, on with my phone. I literally made them on my phone.
Yeah.
So believing when NASA shows you stuff, um, for those of you just listening, as you said, I'm just toggling between this is theirs, and then
Yeah.
I added these other ones in.
Yes.
If I didn't show you
Yes.
like and said pick out the ones I did, you would never be able to pick them out.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
let me,
those go ahead.
Dave,
Yeah.
I want to ask a question about this. This
Yeah.
brings up you mentioned the firmament, and
Yes.
I have a question, spiritual question related to this topic. And one, could you just, before I get into that, could you just describe what is the firmament for people that are new to this? And then I have a sort of deeper spiritual question for you.
So the firmament is the containment of our world, right? So if you
Mm,
want to look at scientifically, gas, which air, everything gas always violently fills the available space. So we live in a pressurized system. You can't have pressure without a container, right? If you had a jar of air and you brought it into a room that had no air, you're in a vacuum, you open it, whoosh, it's going to violently fill the available space. And that's what gas always does, no matter what. High pressure, low pressure, high altitude, whatever. Gas always tries to equalize, right? So if I had a square box, a lucite box with no air in it, and it had a little valve on the bottom, on the side, on the top, doesn't matter. No matter if I was at the top of Mount Everest, 120,000 feet in a balloon, sea level, if I open that valve, air is going to violently fill the available space. But for
hmm
somehow in outer space, gases collapse upon themselves and create
mm,
giant burning balls of hydrogen and helium that burn for trillions of years and never change size. Our sun is burning 640 billion tons, another number you can't fathom, of
yeah.
fuel every second
Mm,
for billions of years. and nothing ever changes, right? You have to
Yeah.
believe in such total nonsense, but we're told to it as little kids, and we just don't question it because, oh, that's what it does. There's
Yeah.
so much gas, it collapses upon itself. So biblically, page one of the Bible, right? I wasn't a Bible guy. I'm not even saying I'm a Bible guy now. There's just a lot of truth in the Bible.
Mm.
Page one, God separated the waters from the water and created the firmament, right? There's waters above,
Mm.
waters below, and it with looking scientifically at, stuff in the sky, it sure appears like the heavens above are liquid. And
Mm.
there's
So
um
that's the question, Dave.
yeah,
That's the question now I want to dive into here.
yeah.
The heavens above are liquid.
Mm.
So if it's not space, right? You mentioned again, you hinted at this before with the relationship to the moon and what the moon actually is, and then you referenced the souls, which I also really is a beautiful feeling to me. So what I've done a lot of teachings around the ether and this and the idea of the akasha and the akashic void that sort of is not just above us, but all around us all the time, and its consciousness is within the spaces between things. So I'm wondering, how do you describe or how do you see or understand what is above the firmament? What is there that's holding, or what is there that's there in replacement of the space teaching?
So anything above where we can reach or beyond 60 degrees south, where we're not allowed to independently explore, is speculation. But we look at some of the recent launches of SpaceX, which no one's going to space, but they are sending things up sometimes when they're not totally deceiving us. And it
Yeah.
sure looks like it's scraping across a watery surface. I'm showing here for those
Mm,
who listening as a boat pulling a skier, and then now it's a rocket. What the heck is going on
mm,
there? I mean, I don't
mm.
think I'm not claiming that somebody's wake surfing in the sky, but there's something very similar going on in the sky when these
Mm.
things are scraping the firmament. um, so I want to show you another thing real quick. So whenever NASA launches a rocket, NASA or SpaceX, the rockets just curve out over the water and crash into the Bermuda Triangle, right?
Mm.
You never see a rocket go up. It just goes up, it curves over, and it goes, oh, that's the curve of the Earth. Wrap your mind around that. You can see the curve. If you're watching a plane leave one of those beautiful white trails behind it, which we won't mention here on YouTube, um,
Yeah.
it's a straight line. It's not going around a curve. It's a straight
Yeah.
line, right? But when we
Yeah.
watch all the NASA rockets, they go up, they curve over, and they go right into the Bermuda Triangle, which they try to keep as many boats out of that area as possible because they don't want anybody
Mm.
seeing anything. Hey, and if somebody accidentally sees something that they shouldn't have seen, hey, maybe their boat sinks in the Bermuda Triangle. And
Mm.
another lost,
Yeah.
another lost thing. But have you heard of the Go Fast rocket? This is a rocket
I have
that
not.
that was done by Red Bull. It was a private rocket with some funding from Red Bull. But it gave us an uninterrupted view, straight down, and a sideways view. I'm showing the straight down view. It's a
Yeah.
little sped up here, but it's spinning and spinning, spinning. It went up to 100. It went up to 72 miles, and then all of a sudden it went kerplunk, and you heard this like it went into like
Interesting.
a plasma or something. And then it
Interesting.
floated very strange. Now, by the way, SpaceX, NASA, when they do their rockets, it's edit, edit, edit. Well, when it turned on its side, all of a sudden we can see the moon. So there's the moon.
Mm.
Horizon's looking a little flat, but there's the moon. What's
Mm.
interesting about this is if you look, the rocket was launched in Arizona at about 11 a.m. Here's the sun over here in the Gulf around noon.
Mm.
And we move all the way over to where the moon was. It's over Australia. So if the Earth was a basketball and the rocket was on top of the basketball, it was a fraction of a millimeter over the basketball, and the moon was on the floor below the basketball.
Mm.
How could you see it? And the answer
Mm.
is that proof alone tells you the Earth is flat. But
Yeah.
there's a million proofs like that. But you'll hear the Globers say, "Oh, there's no proof for the flat Earth. Dave Weiss is a scammer. He's trying to sell apps and whatnot." Grifter. They love the word grifter. And The truth is none of that's true. My point I was going to say, they say there's no proof of the flat earth and there's millions of proofs of the globe.
Yeah.
Inversion, everything they're saying the opposite is true. There are countless proofs depicted in videos, explain diagrams, and there are zero proofs of the globe. I offer 3 Bitcoins. Now I think it's like
Yeah.
$180,000, maybe more, 186,000, for one globe proof. All you got to
Mm.
do is give me one globe proof, and you win 3 Bitcoins.
And Dave, what would you say to someone that hears that and automatically would say, but I can go to NASA's website and I can see these images of the revolving Earth in space.
Actually,
What's your response to that?
NASA admits they don't have any photographs of
Mm,
Earth from space other than from the moon, right? So they
mm,
show you the famous Earth rise. Oh my God, it's so cool. First, why is the Earth so small? The Earth is 6 times bigger than the moon. It's like what's going on? But this is for those of you listening. I'm showing the picture of the Earthrise from NASA, but I just changed it to like, hey, it really should look like this. Or you know what? I think
mm,
I think we should have two Earths.
mm.
Okay, I'm just showing you. I'm not even using Photoshop. I'm using a cheap, free
Yeah,
graphics program, and I
yeah.
think my pictures look better than theirs. All
So
right.
your point, Dave, just for people that are following, your point is, and this is what I wanted to happy you shared this, that most of what we see, especially online now, in relationship is, I mean, to most things, but I would say to the Earth understanding is CGI or edited or changed to meet a certain belief system. Would you
Go
say that's
to
correct?
go to NASA's website and try to find a photograph. A photograph means I
Mm,
took a picture of Earth. They don't have any photographs.
mm,
They have images and pictures.
yeah.
Okay, because they're trying not to lie. Right.
Mm,
What I'm showing now on the screen is the NASA 2002 or 2012, 2002, 2012, I think.
mm,
Image. It's called the Blue Marble 2.0. And if we're looking, we could see the United States here and Mexico,
mm,
and it's taking up a lot of the globe, right? So
yeah.
if we look at a map of the world, I'm showing you a map of the world, and I'm going to put that globe right over where it's depicting, and it lines up perfectly. You have to believe that all of the United States, all of Canada and Alaska and South America and Africa and the Middle East and where you are in India and Australia, all of that's on the other side of this ball.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a word. It begins with an R. That belief is literally that word. Um, so it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just stupid.
I I love it, Dave.
Yeah.
It's just I want to shift now here in a moment to
Good.
the ice wall, but I want to insert this within this conversation here now, just for people tuning in. When we take our minds out of this and we're just present with these kinds of conversations, I think allowing ourselves to laugh a little bit at some of these things can also help us really come back to our truth, right? And what we're really seeing. Uh, Dave, I want to switch now to the topic of the Earth wall, the ice wall. And this for me, when I first started connecting into your work and your videos, I think out of all of it, and I'm sure you probably get this a lot, was the most intriguing to me. Was the part of your teachings and what you're sharing with the world at the moment that for me internally there was a tingling. There was like, ooh, there's something here. So I'm wondering, I think a place because I have so many questions with this, but I think a good place to start is what is the ice wall for people that are new to flat Earth and why is it significant?
So they've programmed us with Game of Thrones. Whenever you mention the ice wall, a large percentage of the populations watch Game of Thrones. Have you watched any?
I've completed the whole series, yeah.
Okay. So when you say the ice wall, you think of this giant wall with a little midget guy that says he wants to piss off the end of the world. Okay. And literally, I think That was one of the main reasons for that entire series, is to make you laugh at the ice wall. The ice
Mm,
wall is reality. It is literally the shoreline of our world, right? Right. You're drinking some water right now. That water needs containment. If you took off the sides of the bottle, you wouldn't be able to drink your water.
mm,
Large bodies of water, anything bigger than a cup of water, need containment. Without containment, water ultimately seeks its base level and its level. So a pond has containment. The shoreline of the ponds is higher than the water consistently all the way around. And if you don't believe me, lower a portion of it below the surface of the water, and the water will escape and it'll seek
mm,
its ultimate base level. Right. So we live in a giant pond. What do
mm,
you mean by that? We live in a giant
mm,
pond. That pond is surrounded by land that is higher than than the surface of the ocean worldwide, right? So we live in
mm.
the. I'm trying to find my proper image of this. The ice.
But just while you find that, Dave, just for people listening, I'd really encourage you. We're going to do a video version of this, and Dave's going to probably put this on his channel. I'd really encourage you to watch this video because Dave has really good images really describing all of this. Keep going.
Yeah, so it's very simple. Imagine you lived in a very flat area here in America. They say Kansas, it's so flat, right? And so there's a giant circular lake, and the lake is 100 miles across. That's a big lake. Okay, you can't see 100 miles across. Okay, at the
Mm,
very center of the lake is an island. We'll just say it's an island, and it has a mountain on it, and the mountain is a magnet. Interesting. Okay. You have all the other islands, which are continents. And so you're out on your boat sailing around and you go to all the continents and you take out your compass. Your compass is going to point to the center of the lake, right? That's
mm.
just a fact. It's how a
Yep.
compass works. Compass only works on a level plane, by the way. And it's going to point to the center. So now you want to head east. So you head east. East is not a straight line. East is a circle equidistant from the center from wherever you are, because that compass needle is going to point somewhere. Go outside and point your hand towards a tree and say that tree is the North Pole, and then point your hand straight forward, and that's east. And now try to walk east, but that left hand, you have to keep your arms at a 90-degree angle.
Mm,
You have to always be pointing at the tree. You're going to walk in a big circle around the tree. That
mm,
does not prove the Earth is flat, because it works the same on a globe. If you were a mile from
mm,
the North Pole on a globe and you tried to go east, you're going to walk 6.28 miles. You're going to be right back to where you started from. Okay.
mm.
And that's circumnavigation. And that works the
Yeah.
same on a flat Earth. Okay. So guess what the highest land on Earth is? By far,
Mm.
the highest continent on Earth. What is the highest average elevation? By far,
I have no idea. I'm guessing in this model,
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Yeah.
Antarctica. Antarctica is the shoreline of our world pond. Antarctica
Mm,
is not a continent at the bottom of a ball. What they did
mm,
is they cut out the world and then they wrapped it around a sphere.
mm,
And then
mm.
they brought that shoreline in. They created
Yeah.
an island called
Yeah.
Antarctica. And guess what? Nobody is allowed to independently explore Antarctica. Nobody's
Mm,
gone from Santiago to Australia crossing Antarctica. They always
mm.
go the other way, which is the long way.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you, and, oh, there's 100 different companies that'll take you to Antarctica. Yes, there are. They're all run by the same commission, the Antarctic Commission, run by one guy.
Mm,
It's super expensive, 10,000 minimum to 50,
yeah.
$100,000 to go for 3 days. They take you to a little island off of Santiago called Deception Island or Rothschild Island. What? I mean, what are they doing? And they'll show you some penguins. They'll show you some ice. You don't even get close to the real shoreline, the ice
Yeah.
wall, the ice barrier, the ice container
Yeah.
of our world pond. And they'll take you there and then they'll kick you out. That's it. You're not allowed to
Mm,
go anywhere. Even if they let you go 1,000 miles inland, what are you going to see? Where are you going? You have no way of confirming where you are. Compasses don't work. GPS doesn't work. Okay. If the Earth was a
Yeah.
ball, there would be a South Pole. Compasses wouldn't work on the equator because you're halfway in
Mm.
between the North and the South, and it doesn't know which way to point. But you're so far away from the center when you're out south that the compasses don't
Mm.
work.
So, Dave, I think the question here to ask, and I hope people tuning in also have this question because it really excites me and I want to hear you talk about it. And this again goes into more of the spiritual teachings now. Okay, this world pond and this plane that we are in, surrounded by this ice wall. What do you think, do you feel is beyond that ice wall? I'd love to hear your teachings and understandings around, okay, so if there is this ice wall and we're on this plane and we're not in space, so what is beyond that ice wall?
Okay, so for those of you listening, you got your pond. You've cut out a big circle around the pond, leaving some land around the outside. And then you wrapped it around a basketball and you scrunched all that land together and you call that Antarctica. Okay. No one's allowed to independently explore there. There's you can track cargo ships and cruise ships all over the world. There's tracking sites, there's free tracking sites, there's paid ones with more information. And we were looking at a tracking site and we saw some ships that were deep inside of Antarctica. We're like, what? 730
Yeah.
miles inland, right? At 730 miles inland, they tell us that the elevation is 1.9 miles. So if Antarctica had like a river or something that someone could get in, there's a 1.9 mile high ravine that they're in, right? And we found another one 905 miles. That's almost at the middle of Antarctica, the size that they tell us it is. Okay. How is that even possible? Right.
Mm.
So there's this old map that was found in um it was
I
published
love
in
this map.
1910
Yeah.
and it shows all of these other continents outside of the circle that we call our world Earth.
Mm.
And it shows like 30 some odd other continents out there. Very interesting.
Mm.
Okay. So so what is going on here? Um so when you click on a ship on the tracking map, it tells you all the information, who's the captain is, where it's going, cargo, how big the ship is, everything. And when we clicked on one, it just told us the size of the ship, 580 meters long, 80 meters wide. That is a friggin' gigantic ship.
Yeah.
They said it's a fishing ship. What? Wait a minute. This is a gigantic, you don't understand how big that is, right? So we looked at it and it didn't give us any information other than it said it was registered in the nation of Kiribati. Where's Kiribati? If you look that up, it's in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's so small that I had to put a pin on it as I'm zooming in on it here. And it's literally a sandbar in the middle.
Mm.
It's a little bigger than a sandbar, but it's tiny. It's an insignificant little island.
Piece of
China,
land. Yeah.
yeah, China and America gave them over $10 billion each recently. And they say it's a very important trade route. Okay.
Mm.
A very important trade route. What? Why would a giant ship need to stop at a sandbar? Okay. What are they getting there? There's not even enough
Mm.
sand to fill that giant ship. I mean, maybe there is, but just jumping back, they tell us Antarctica is 13,000 miles in circumference. Oh, that's the easy way to prove the Earth. Let's just sail around the shoreline of Antarctica. The last person to do that was Captain Cook. It took him 3.5 years, and he went over 68,000 miles.
Mm.
68,000 miles to go around a
Mm.
13,000 mile circumference.
Mm.
The equator, they tell us, is just under 25,000 miles.
So
How?
what do you think he did? What do you think he did, Dave?
He just was circling around the shoreline of our world, which is way bigger.
Mm.
So the North Pole is a point. The
Mm.
equator is halfway between the North Pole and the South Pole, allegedly.
Mm.
And then as you go out farther, those circles get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm.
And um, on Kiribati, one of the people that follow my work was doing some research, and they found a little bed and breakfast called the Captain Cook Hotel. Captain Cook
Mm.
Hotel. Maybe that's not proof of anything. Somebody just loves Captain Cook.
Captain Cook. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we look at all the ships that were at Kiribati on the map, their destinations were either one of two things: Christmas Island or unknown.
Mm.
And some people say that Kiribati is called Christmas Island. There's another Christmas Island on the other side of Africa. I don't know. If you look into all the satanic stuff with Christmas and Santa and
Yeah.
Satan and NASA, it seems a little suspicious. All right.
Yeah.
And then there's all sorts of stuff with nuke testing. And if you've looked into the nuke hoax, that's another red flag.
Yeah.
And if you look at time zones, think about time zones on a ball. You draw a line from the North Pole to the South Pole, and you draw 24 of those lines, sectioning the ball up like an orange, right? The sections of an orange. Those are your time zones as the Earth spins. Well, those lines should all be straight and perfect
Mm.
and equal sections, but they have some weird, jagged,
Discrepancies. Yeah.
yeah, beyond that. It's really weird. And when we look at the international date line, there's this one time zone that zigzags all over the place, goes across 3.5 time zones, and right in this weird spot for those of you watching is Kiribati. Would you
Mm.
call that the most suspicious spot? Okay.
Yes.
The most
Yeah.
suspicious spot. I don't know what it means. I really don't. I don't know what it means. So, um, so what's going on there? Well, here's my theory that
I'm excited. Give it to us, Dave. Give
it
it to
is a
us.
very important trade route. They're going from Kiribati to the outer lands, and somehow
Mm.
their tracking put them, well, that would put them in the middle of this island. Well, no, they're just going outwards, and it's a trade route. Maybe they're trading tuna fish. Maybe they're trading children. Maybe they're trading, weapons. Who knows what they're doing? Maybe that's where, if you know about the orphan trains and stuff, maybe that's where all the repopulation came after the last reset.
Yeah.
A whole nother thing. Um, and the thing is, I have a video on this, and it's called "How Would You Know?" Because you never heard of Kiribati before this conversation,
Yeah.
right? How would you know there's not another one here going out, another one here
Yeah.
going out? How do you know there's not 100 things going on? Like, where
Yeah.
does all this technology come from? We had a conversation with a guy that works at a computer chip for Intel, I think it was, and he said that they have these chips and they're constantly trying to make them smaller and better, and they make tiny, 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 insignificant, he called them, improvements. And then all of a sudden, there's a need for a chip that does a lot more. And all of a sudden, the CEO comes and goes to the lab and goes, "Here's a new chip. See what you can do
Yeah.
with it." Right? Where did that chip come from?
Yeah.
Okay, where did it come
Yeah.
from? I don't know. Maybe it was on that ship.
I think, first of all, Dave, thank you for really explaining all this and sharing this. Like this, to me, this is again one of the most, I think, intriguing parts of the flat Earth teachings because it really resonates with, other sectors of society where we don't even need to get into all things flat Earth to already see that this kind of, illusion and programming is there, right? You look at the healthcare system, you look at the education system, you look at, big agriculture. There's so many structures in society that are there to keep us learning learning what to think, not how to think. And this is another example of that. This is another example of these layers of keeping us in our, little boxes of what we think reality is versus what reality actually is.
That's exactly it. Literally, we are in the matrix, and they've
Yeah.
cast a spell over us. They've made a circle and said, "You can't go outside this circle." Right? But what difference does it make? What if you lived in a building that was 200 miles long by 200 miles wide and 200 stories high? You can't even imagine, but you could probably imagine a building that big. And you were born in a hospital 50 miles in, 100 miles in, whatever. And you went to college there, and you shopped there, and you met your wife there, and
Yeah.
and there's trains in there. Trains go, 100, you go 100 miles, you're not even close to the edge. But anytime you get close to the outer wall, within a mile, they go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 stop. You can't go here. You can't go
Yeah.
here." And they turn you around. And someone's going, "We really want to go out there." Well, what difference does it make? Go back in, have a good time, stay where you are, right? There's other buildings, there's other things, there's other resources. All the wars, all of the power struggles, all of the governments, what do they fight over? Land and resources.
Yeah.
What if there's more land and resources and they're just hiding
Yeah.
from us?
Yeah.
It's not a what if. Here's just one thing I want to preface. We're talking about things beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. You do not need to speculate about what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica to prove the Earth is flat. You can do that in your own yard. You can do
Yeah.
that. You're your own common sense. You can do that if you actually just think about it. You can disprove stars in space by thinking about gases, about thinking about angular size, by thinking about the inverse square law of light, which they don't teach you in school. Once you understand these things, then you know they're lying about space. Space. And people go, well,
Mm,
the stars prove the stars before you say the stars prove the Earth. Okay,
mm,
prove the stars, right? They want us to
yeah.
believe. When we go outside and we look at the sky, a time lapse of the sky. We've all seen that time lapse. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and the sky is moving. When there's a tiny little earthquake, you feel it, right? You feel it, but the sky is spinning above us. They want you to believe that the Earth is spinning below the sky, and so
Mm,
they'll get a telescope with a rotating axis. They'll focus on one star and hold that point, and then it'll rotate. And then when you play the video back, which I'm showing here, it shows the whole Earth spinning. Okay, could you imagine? Whoa, the Earth is spinning. Look at all that water. I mean, come on, come on. People. Well, you're moving. You don't notice in an airplane that you're moving. Well, first, yes, you do notice in an airplane that you're moving, but you're moving on all the motions of the Earth. It's spinning, it's orbiting, it's chasing the sun. All of these things are circular or curved motions. So you're not following a linear line, you're following a curved line, and
yeah.
curving is acceleration,
Yeah.
right? Go in a car, 50, 100 miles an hour, smooth road, good suspension, fill a dinner plate with water, and then have that car speed up or slow down the tiniest bit or take the slightest turn. What's going to happen to that water? We
Mm,
don't see any of that on Earth.
yeah. Dave, I want to do another spiritual round here and
Oh.
throw you another sort of deeper question that I already know from this chat that you're really there. And I just want to preface this by saying this was one of the main reasons I really enjoyed what your teachings are, because, whether you are on the same understanding or not, I think people listening can really hear how passionate and loving you are around this teaching, right? And I feel your power, I feel your connection to yourself as you speak about these topics. And this is the question that I want to ask you, and I want to see if you can sort of explain it for people tuning in. What do you think is the relationship here between this globe versus flat Earth teaching and understanding to people really coming back to the understanding that they have the power, that they are divine, that they are, they have infinite, creative, abundant abilities inside of them? What is the link here, in your opinion?
So,
I'll say this, Dave. Let me say this. Let's say tomorrow that all the governments in the world, they decided to not remove that. They decided to remove that limitation around the ice wall. What, this is an example. What would happen? What would happen with people's relationship to their power?
well, I mean, think about it. The world is a little screwed up right now. People are pretty much fed up. People are being ripped off, taxed to hell, and they're literally working for survival. Okay, the truth about flat Earth also comes with free energy. Okay. Imagine you had a device the size of
Yes.
a roll of quarters that could heat your house, air condition your house, and run your car. Okay. For the rest of your life. So you no longer have to pay for any of that energy. You have as much energy as you want. You can put icicles in your house in July. All right. Or whatever, whatever your season is. And um that would free up a lot of time. We literally work our lives away to pay for energy when all of that is provably free. Okay, provably free. And
Mm,
like if you didn't have to pay for any energy, you could just literally do so many things. You don't have to work for a corporation. You could be just turn your yard into a farm and trade food
mm,
and have somebody build you an extension on your house and all of this stuff. But we have to they have to control us with energy, with paying for energy.
scarcity,
Scarcity.
limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they opened up, hey, there's 100,000 other continents. with civilizations that have everything from incredible weather to incredible laws of the land and freedom. Exodus. There would be a mass exodus, right? There would be a mass exodus. It's like, you know what? People would be leaving left and right, and that's what they don't want us. They can't keep us in jail if we
Know the truth.
see the sell, if we see that we're going to sell,
Yeah.
right? If you know that there's more, then you're going to want more. So I always say, this is actually from Mark Sargent. If you had a mountain lion and you fenced him in your quarter-acre yard, that mountain lion's gonna be pissed. He's gonna pace back
Yeah.
and forth. He's gonna do everything he can to escape. Then you put him in 5 miles around. He's probably okay. He won't be too upset. Put him in a fenced-in area 500 miles around. That lion's going to hit the fence one day and go, I'll just go back the other way. And he's not going to care. He's got plenty of room. Put a human in any fence anywhere, 24,000 miles around, right? And say, you can't go to the other side. The only thing we're going to think about is getting to the other side of that fence. So they
Yeah.
hide the walls. We are slaves in their system, in their fake
Mm.
world. And here's the thing. The good news is, people, they also throw up their hands. Besides, I have to go to work on Monday. What difference does it make? Is I'm only one person and I can't make a difference. That's another psyop.
Yes.
One person
Yes.
in the truth is more powerful than a million lying, right?
Yes.
And so there's a saying that he who builds it owns it. So God built nature, and we are all part of nature, and all truth comes from nature, and everything comes from nature. And they're trying to disconnect us from nature. They don't want us even allowed to go into
Yes.
nature. And
Yes.
and if we play on their game board, their globe, and use their fake money, their fiat dollars, then we have to abide by their rules.
And they're
So,
God.
yeah,
And they become God.
and they become they want God,
Yeah.
government. No, they want government,
Government. Yeah.
man, and then get rid of God. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's not true. Government, I'll allow them to be below me if they do good. Otherwise, if they do bad, I'm just going to step on them. We do
Yeah.
not need to destroy the government. We need to just ignore them and create our own world,
Yeah.
create our own reality, right? So what difference does it make? It makes all the difference in the world. One person awake to the truth is super powerful, right? Put
Mhm.
two people together, that's not times two, that's times 100.
It's
Because
exponential.
yeah, and then the more people get together, it's just exponential.
Yeah.
The power that you have. Your thoughts create your reality.
Yeah.
Everything in your life, good or bad, is your fault.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. And once you understand the power of your mind and the ability to manifest, then everything changes. And all of that is hidden from you because of the globe lie. So what difference does it make? There's way worse things going on in the world. Bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
So
I love
sorry.
it.
Sorry for
I
all of you
know.
that just got upset because I said the word, extra.
You're all good, Dave. That was beautiful. That's
No, I know
exactly
people
what I.
people get so upset when I like, oh, I was listening to your show and now I can't play it for my kid. Learn,
No,
your
no.
kids know the words already. Relax.
Yeah, I don't have any restrictions on this show, Dave. So you can. The only restriction, Dave, is you being authentically 100% you, and you're already ticking that box. So, um, I love it. That was profound, and that's really what you just outlined is really what pulled me into these teachings around flat Earth. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm still on the fence with everything, but with what you just shared, that I know that to be true. Everything that you just said just now is divine truth. And I really hope people tuning in can really start from that place and then take all these other beautiful teachings from there. Dave, I want to be mindful of your time. We've only got about 15 minutes left, and I want to finish by just throwing you some more questions, but I want to do them quickly. I want to throw you some fast action questions that I think you probably get a lot of, and I want to sort of hear your response to it. I think will give people value. How does that sound for you?
Sounds depends on what the question is, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
go
yeah. So the first one you mentioned PSYOP a second ago, and I've been having a few conversations with some friends about all of this, as you can imagine. And one friend brought to my awareness this perspective that I want to get your thoughts on, that flat Earth as a general sort of teaching is a psyop for all of the quote unquote real alien sightings and real alien revelations that are coming out, and flat Earth is a
Yeah.
psyop that is coming out to distract us from the quote unquote real revelations. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, you've probably heard this. What's your response to this?
I'm not giving you a short answer on it. I'm going a little long.
Okay, okay,
I won't
okay.
be too long. I won't be too long.
No, no,
So,
you're good.
so I did a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, looking into all of the other major deceptions, New York, Connecticut, Boston, and every other deception. And when Flat Earth came up, besides me just banning those people for even suggesting that I even look at it, when I finally discovered it, the first thing I said is, if this is a psyop put out there to discredit all of the other truth movements, to discredit everything. And
Mm,
I just assume that, because here's the thing that happens. If you believe something to be 100% infallible truth,
it
if
becomes
somebody
that.
gives you a piece of contradicting information or a suggestion, you will
Mm,
immediately make up a story to make it go away, because
yeah,
you have this belief, this a belief you're unwilling at that time to change. So I say the same thing. Everyone says the same thing, but then hopefully something like this show will get you to look. Okay, will get you to
yeah,
actually look in the right place, and when you see it, you understand. So let's talk about aliens for a second, extraterrestrials. I'm
yeah.
big into that, right? And we all and they've indoctrinated kids. It's all about outer space, about aliens, and about discovering other worlds. You know, um, the whole I mean, there's so much to go into. The whole idea of us going to Mars and everything is so stupid. If you actually look at it, it's the dumbest thing ever. So the closest star, not our sun, for those of you, our sun is the closest star, is 4.5 light years away, whatever it is. Right? That's 25 trillion miles. Okay. So you and I get in a spaceship. We're going a mile per second. Okay. Do you know how long 1 trillion seconds is?
A long, a long time.
Want to take a guess? Come on. I love it when people don't know. Take a guess.
I've,
One
I've
guess.
no idea.
One guess. If you guess it
Uh,
within a
uh,
week, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
so how long?
How long?
3 years.
Very close. 31,000 years. Okay. So just let that sink in. 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So now we're in a spaceship going a mile per second. No one's ever gone that fast. We traveled for 31,000 years. Okay. My jokes are really getting boring at this point. And we have to do that 24 more times to get to the
Mm,
closest star. Well, you know
mm.
what? You're like, Dave, I'm good friends with Elon. I got a special engine. It goes 100,000 miles an hour. 100,000 miles an hour. Hey, that's good. It's only going to take us 28,000 years to get to the closest star. And again, a star is a gas ball in a space vacuum, scientifically impossible. Okay. So we're traveling in Narnia. It's the dumbest thing ever. So you have to believe, and then we get there and we find out, oh, there's really no life on these planets. We got to go to another star. Those are magnitudes farther. Okay.
Yeah,
Polaris, we can see with our naked eye, 433 light years away. You can't see something at a light hour away, let alone years away.
yeah.
But that's a whole nother podcast. Many of my interviews, I'm going to tell you guys where to find my stuff, flatearthdave.com.
Yes. Yeah,
But you can watch and learn, but the problem is people are lazy and they don't want to take the time to break their old paradigms and learn new things. So getting back to this thing, aliens flying through scientifically impossible space, crashing in Roswell, stupid. Extraterrestrials,
yeah,
extra, more,
yeah.
terrestrial, terra, land,
More land.
extra land in the outer space beyond Antarctica,
Yes.
just tens of thousands of miles away. I believe that extraterrestrials can come here,
Yes.
do their business, whether it's abducting you or dropping this off technology or spooking people, whatever it is, and make it home in time for kids to have dinner with their kids in the same day. Okay.
Yeah. Go to the other planes of existence.
The same plane. There's other plane. Oh, that's a whole other thing. There's other
Yeah.
planes above
Yes.
us.
Dimensions. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a whole nother discussion. I just try to keep it in this 3D reality. I believe that there are more continents, right?
Yeah.
People would not. How would you know you're not allowed to explore the outer lands of Antarctica? Just last year, 2023, Japan found 7,000 new islands.
Yeah.
Don't believe me? Google it. Look it
Yeah.
up. Okay. 7,000 new islands. And that's just off of Japan. Okay. How is that even possible if you understand how GPS works, right? How things work, it all comes together. So if you want to believe in extraterrestrials, yes, I do. They're here. They're among us. They come and they go. They infiltrate our world.
Yeah.
We're all different races are probably different people from
Yeah.
different lands, from different
Yeah.
different ponds, and it's all
Yeah.
mixed together. But we are here with amnesia. We're stuck after the last reset. The controllers literally imprisoned us, and they've done a fantastic job. I have to tell you, hats off to the controllers. They are amazing in mind control, indoctrination, and
Yeah.
the way they've done this. Maybe they've done it 100 times and they're just getting really good at it,
Yeah.
right? But when you unplug from the matrix, they no longer can control you. Right?
Yes.
When you unplug from the matrix, you free yourself up, you connect back to the creator, and you take back your power. And
Mm.
it's happening faster and faster and faster. And people are discovering more and more as being unveiled. Um, and
And it's
that's
people
right.
like,
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
you answered it and more, Dave. Like this is a big part of, you don't know this, but a big part of my show is, right. It's the structure and the questions, but the outer space that we go to with these sort of questions. So you're doing beautiful.
All right.
I do want to throw you another quick, not so quick question because
Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on it. Um, and there's just so much here. We might have to do another conversation down the track because you said so much just then that I want to ask more on. But I do want to throw you this before we finish.
Okay.
We talked about above the firmament. I want you to speak quickly here now on what's below the flat Earth, right? I watched one of your videos that I thought was very beautiful around all of these ancient cultures that described, what's under the Earth, what's under the plane and carrying the firmament. And so I'm just wondering what are your current views, beliefs, understandings around, okay, we're on this plane. What's under it? What's under this? It's not a globe, obviously. So what's under the Earth?
So the deepest hole ever dug, whether the Earth is flat or a globe, is 7.8 miles, less than 8 miles. Okay. So if the Earth was a Macintosh apple, which has that very thin skin, they drilled through a fraction, 10% maybe, of that skin. And while they were drilling, they said, hey, there's no more rocks. They're using ground penetrating radar to see what's below, and they hit more rocks. They said, okay, there's no more water. And then they hit more water. Okay, there's no more whatever. And they were wrong every step of the way. At 7.8 miles, they hit an impenetrable barrier. When I say impenetrable, they tried for years. America and Russia worked together for years and years and years and could not drill, explode, do anything to get through this hole, get through this barrier. So 7.8 miles. But then all of a sudden, the textbooks go, oh, here's the inner core of the Earth. So the next 4,000 miles, which nobody can verify or get to, they tell you, oh, there's this layer, and then there's a molten magnetic core at the middle. Okay. That's pseudoscience. That meme that everyone has in their textbook showing the core of the Earth, everything is literally a pseudoscience meme. So what's
Mm,
below it? I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing, and it's hard to find it now, but they dropped a microphone down that hole, and I get goosebumps when I even
mm,
talk about this. I heard this years ago, long before I knew the Earth was flat, and it literally sounded like hell, where
mm,
it's like screaming and these noises, and literally I never want to hear it again. It like affected my core, like my whole body right now. Like it's like I'm
mm.
freaking out just talking about this. And I don't know if it was real or if someone just faked it. It could be anything. I wasn't there. I don't know. You can fake anything, but that sound is haunting. So what's out
Mm,
there? I don't know. Is it hell? Is hell? I don't know. I don't know. It's my answer. I don't know.
mm.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. I think that is, for me, once again, one of the most exciting parts of everything that flat Earth offers the world at the moment is that there is an opportunity for all of us to find our own answers here, right? I really appreciate you, Dave, for teaching what you're teaching and offering this understanding that you're not here offering all the answers. You're inviting people to ask bigger questions for themselves. And, this what's under the earth is another example of that. Dave, I have one more question for you before we wrap up. Before we get to it, I want to create a bit of space here now. You've mentioned it a couple of times for people watching the video. You would have seen all of Dave's videos, but if people want to go deeper into all things flat Earth, I know you have a podcast, I know you have a YouTube channel. Please direct them to where they can go to find out more.
So if you Google Flat Earth Dave, whatever, they're going to feed you garbage. They're going to feed you stuff that will make you laugh at Flat Earth. They're going to feed you an interview that I did with a guy that calls himself Professor Dave. He's really failed musician Dave, and it's just horrible. But those with weak minds that are
Was that a three-way interview there was like there was four there was
there's four of us, right?
I
And
just want can I just speak to that super
yeah, yeah,
quickly, that interview? I just like that was one of the reasons I actually brought you on. I wanted to bring you on the show because I saw that
yeah.
interview and I saw just how, and I think this is a problem, systemic problem with our society at large, is having debates with no emotional intelligence, right? That whole chat, I only watched like the first 15 minutes and I had to turn it off because
It gets
you
worse. It got
you
worse.
get yeah like whether you're right or wrong in a debate, there's meant to be space for people to share their ideas and then have a break, have a pause, and then the other person replies,
So
and there's respect.
yeah, here's the
No
thing.
respect.
Here's the thing. Google serves that up because they think that it hurts flat Earth, but in reality, it got me on your
Yes,
show. It got people. A lot of
yes,
people I got hundreds and hundreds. And I still get emails like, "Hey, I am not a flat earther. The Earth is definitely a globe, but I saw your debate with the Professor Dave quotation marks, and that was just why did he act like that?" And so now I have
yes,
a communication with them. I said, "Here's why. Watch these videos, and I'll send them videos that are being hidden by Google that you'll never find on your."
mm,
And then a couple days later, I'll get an email back. People going, "Oh my God, this is real. I had no
yeah.
idea," because Google is hiding all of this information from you. So there's a channel called
I'm so happy there that that's helping you. I just want to really, I'm just happy
Every
that that's happening.
as Mark Sargent says, there's no such thing as bad publicity, and that's
Yeah.
true. But good publicity is better than bad publicity, but bad publicity is still publicity. So there's a channel called Mind Shock, and this guy, pretty sure he under his head he would say the Earth is flat, but he doesn't take either side. He analyzes debates logically, and he keeps track of ad homs and fallacies, and he's genius at it. And he did this one,
Mm,
and I'll just tell you, Professor Dave broke the record for the number of ad homs and fallacies that he spouted.
mm,
Nonsense. And I've
mm.
watched that. A lot of people won't. That's probably like a 3 hour video of the breakdown. Um, then you'll be like, oh wow, I had no idea. But when somebody talks in a nice accent and they come from a place of supposed authority, people just believe because it's
Yeah.
easier to believe, right?
Yeah.
I believe that you are in India. That's a
Yeah.
belief. I don't know it. I mean,
Yeah.
you could be in Connecticut where I am.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Right, right. So a belief, and we live in a world where I'm not going to verify everything. If I have to verify everything, I wouldn't get out of the house, right? You have to believe, right? So, my rule is I believe you. Screw me once, you're pretty much done. Screw me twice, you're finished. Okay.
Yeah.
Lie to me. Our honor, our word is the key. So, um, so Google is hiding all of this information from you. You won't find it on your own. So if you just go to all you have to remember is flatearthdave.com. On there, you'll
Hmm.
see all my social media. Subscribe to my TikToks. They just removed my TikTok just the other day. So I have a new TikTok and I have very few
Oh, wow.
followers. And they said I violated the terms of service, but they wouldn't tell me what it was. And all I'm doing is talking about this stuff. So, I guess I'm
Mm,
spreading disinformation. They're they're trying to remove all of the stuff. I have an app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Just go to flatearthdave.com, click the app logo. You can download the app. The app is $3. Oh, here it is. He's grifting for $3. Okay. All right. No, I am spending a lot of money and my entire life working on this app to get you the information to train yourself and to show others. It does everything. Any images you want, you can search
Yeah.
them. Any videos. Let's say you want to say, oh, Dave was on InfoWars. Where can I find it? I actually, it would take me a while to find it, but I can go on the app, search, go to
Yeah.
the search button and search InfoWars. Bam, there's my info. There's my one on InfoWars, or Stu Peters. Here's my interview on Stu
Yeah.
Peters. Sunsets. There's frequently asked questions. There's all sorts of stuff in there, and really important is the friend finder. You can
Mm.
connect with other flat earthers near you, because one thing people say, and it's not as much anymore because there's so many flat earthers now. Um, it's so lonely. I can't talk to anyone about this. My family thinks I'm crazy. My friends, I can't talk to them. Go on the friend finder, find somebody that lives right down the block from you, tap on their dot, send them a message, have a meetup. Right? We did a meetup. We sent a message out to 50 kilometers to everyone within 50 kilometers. 80 people showed up. 80 people showed up
Mm.
at the pizza restaurant. Right? Pizza.
Mm. I
Uh-huh.
love it.
So flatearthdave.com. If you don't want to get the app, that's fine. Just scroll down. I have resource videos, but if you scroll down, I say start with the crash course. You'll see a big picture of me. It says crash course, and then watch the first three videos. And after those, that's my challenge. Watch those three videos, and then send me one proof the Earth is a globe. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to hear from none of you because you're going to know the Earth is flat, right? Because it's scientifically impossible, just like gas, collapsing upon itself, to watch three of those, just three. There's a whole bunch, and still believe in the globe. On the app, I have a
Yeah.
featured video every day. So a lot of people, their daily routine is they get up, they make their coffee or their tea, and they watch the daily video. That's all you got to do. My
Mm.
challenge is watch the daily video for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you still think the Earth is a globe, you win 3 Bitcoins, but you have to provide one proof of the globe. And that's been out there for years. No one's getting the Bitcoin because the Earth is not a globe.
Yeah. Dave, I two things I want to say to firstly, just to any of the people that, listen to you and then you promote yourself with an app that you've made. First of all, you're allowed to have a business, right? No matter what you're talking about, right? If you're passionate about anything in the world and you make a business around it, no one would complain about that. But because this is such, as you've said throughout this conversation, this is such a heated belief system orientated topic, that's where people have a challenge, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
go.
One,
Yeah.
one last thing I want to point on the app. The app used to be just everything I told you and the stuff, and it was $3 one-time cost. But then I started adding features that actually cost per use, like
Yes.
messaging on the friend finder. You can do video calls. You can do all sorts of stuff that uses data. So I charge a subscription for that, and that's
Mm.
$11 a year. Oh, there it is, 11.
Yeah.
You don't need it, but most people want it. And if you don't want to pay for it, that's fine also, because anyone that you talk to Flat Earth about and show them the app, they immediately say, "That's so cool. Where do I get it?" And you have a referral system. You go into Friend Finder and hit the button on the top left, and it's your referrals. And my referral code is DITRH. It stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. My channel name on YouTube,
Yep.
DITRH. And when someone downloads the app, the first thing it says, "Do you have a referral code?" Right? And all it does is give that person credit for referring you. Get 11 points. You can trade it in for a year subscription. And a lot of people do
Love
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So
Love it.
I want this to be, people are like, well, the truth should be free. You know what? The things cost money in this world.
Yeah. Say
So
that to any person that has a wellness business or a yoga business or a spirit, like
yeah.
we could do a whole conversation on just how, yeah,
So,
incorrect that is, right?
so I
Um,
just for those that are listening to me for the first time, I had my own business. I left corporate America, started my own business, super successful, making tons of money, and I realized I got to walk away from everything I worked my entire life for to spread this message, or we're all going to go through the dark ages again in the 2020s, right? We're heading in that direction, but I don't believe that's going to happen because people are waking up. So I dedicated my life to this,
yeah.
and the creator provides in amazing ways.
Yeah. Well, that leads me beautifully into this last question I want to ask you here now, Dave, before I let you go into your morning of, I'm sure, beautiful activities related to all things flat Earth. This is, and just before I share that, for everyone listening, I'll put all the show in the show notes, all the details, the links to everything that Dave just talked about, so you can connect to his app, his community, his podcast, etc. But my question for you, Dave, is this is the cosmic love antenna. And for me on my journey in my great awakening, I have come back to an understanding that for me personally, my higher power in many ways is this consciousness of love, right? When I speak to you, when I connect into your message and everything you're teaching, I don't just feel passion, I don't just feel inspiration, I feel your love as you share these teachings. So, my question for you, Dave, in your world, how do you define love? What does love mean to you?
Love is when you have a passion for something, somebody, a way of life. My love is truth. My love is helping other people find their truth, because there's a lot of depression in this world, and the depression leads to drug addiction, alcohol, and other things which they push. The mainstream is always pushing that stuff, and the CIA is the biggest drug dealer of the world. And during the lockdowns, the liquor stores were open, but the churches were closed. Crazy stuff. So I believe that a lot of depression comes when your soul, your true self, your stardust is trying to talk to your conscious mind that's stuck in the television programming. And your soul kind of gives up after a while, and that's when you become depressed and look for an escape. And I've seen it when people wake up to flat Earth, they lose their depression, they get off their antidepressants, they stop drinking, they do all sorts of stuff. They break their drug habit, they break their depression, and their life is changed. No matter what their situation. Um, I've seen it. I wasn't depressed, but I am now in love with the world. It's amazing, incredible, beautiful, unboring. The word boring is gone. When you discover flat Earth, there's no such thing as boring. And if you have insomnia, that just gives you more time to learn. All right.
Hmm.
So that's what love is. Love is the love for the world.
Hmm. Beautiful, Dave. I kept getting the word magic, right, as you were describing what you have woken up to with this love for what the greater world was. I get this word magic, right? And that's a big part of, what I see your teachings as. You're reminding us of not just the magic inside of us, but the magic that's out there waiting to be seen and harnessed. So,
Absolutely. So,
Dave, thank you. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate all that you are in this world.
all right, man. Thanks for having me.
It's been an honor for everyone tuning in. Thank you for opening your hearts and opening your minds to this conversation. If it did really stimulate some new teachings for you, even if you're feeling a bit triggered, you're feeling a bit, ooh, this is testing my belief systems. I love it. Please share it out with a friend, a family member, a lover. But regardless, until next time here on the show, we send you love, we send you light, and we'll see you soon.
All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Thanks.